Come in. Sorry about that last live, y'all. If you know, you know. So, this morning or tonight in this particular live, I will be dropping a little bit of tea on Marcus with receipts, by the way, in case anybody has any doubt. So, yeah, there will be some receipts. Um, I may not need to take it that far, but at the end of the day, yes, the tea will be. But before I get to that tea, I'm going to tell you a little story. So, a brief story time, and it's kind of related to that tea. So, I, about maybe 5 years ago, was on my way to the store. It was about 11 o'clock in the evening. And normally when I go to the store, I take a particular route because, like most people I gather, I do have a particular store that I prefer to go to, particularly late at night, because um, it's just a safer thing to do. That, you go to a place where you feel most comfortable, but for whatever reason, on this night, I was led in the opposite direction towards a store that I typically would not go to. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just cut through the park. I don't want to give too much information out, but there's a park nearby. And I was, just going to kind of cut through. And I see somebody sleeping on the bench. And at first, I walked past and just kept walking because, one, that's not atypical to see. I mean, it's Atlanta, and there's just going to be a lot of homelessness out here, and there's not a whole lot you can do. And hey, Michelle, how you doing? I see we got Car. What is that? Carmaine Sam, and they say, "Hey, Dominique." Well, hello to you and Vibes Queen. What's up, girl? Dang, y'all, look at y'all. Y'all up with y'all cups, y'all mugs, y'all got y'all jugs, y'all got y'all sippy sip cups. Like, y'all just waiting for that tea. It's gonna spill, I promise y'all. But anyway, so I was walking through the park. I first walked past this individual that I saw sleeping on the bench. And mind you, they did not even have their shoes on their feet. Their shoes were actually, well, they were really worn down. And I guess the reason why he hadn't had them on his feet was probably because they were hurting really, really bad, I would gather. And as the story progresses, you gather as well. And so, as I said, I did it first with this individual. And then something said, down. No, turn back around. And I was like, ugh. I gotta make sure that I at least let this person know to keep their belongings, their shoes, their footwear, like behind them or underneath them, or try to secure them, because I know how the neighborhood is, and he's gonna take this guy's footwear. So I go back and I say, and he looks up. And when he looks up, I see my nephew. Not my blood nephew, Thank God. Thank God. Not my blood nephew, but I see my nephew because this homeless individual was not even an adult. This was a whole entire kid, a YN. And at the in that moment, I could tell that he was a kid, but I didn't know that he was a YN in that moment. But I would find that out eventually. And so I said to him, I said, bruh, is there a reason why you out here with your shoes off? And he was like, yeah, my feet was killing me. I was like, well, bro, you're going to have to figure out a way to secure them. Because if you stay out here, somebody's going to walk away with their footwear. So I was like, why are you out here anyway? It's 11 o'clock in the evening. How old are you? At that point, the kid was 16. 16. And so I said to him, did you eat? He said, no, I seen you around here. Where's your parents? He's like, that's a long story or whatever. So I was like, well, hold on. I got to run to the store, but I got a little bit of time to listen to your story. So I said, sit right here. And I went on to the store. And when I came back from the store, he was sitting right there. And I remember I'd gotten some chips and some soda and, a couple things that I thought he might like or whatever. And I handed them to him. And I said to him, so about that story, what happened? So he says, I'm from Alabama. And my family put me out. He said, I've basically been on my own since I was 15 years old. And I just Atlanta because I had to get away from something. He said that he was on the run from something. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, whatever you are on the run from, you don't know me from a hole in the wall. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I don't know anybody you know, so you're free to be 100% honest with me. Did you do something wrong? He said yes and no. I said, what you mean by that? He said, what I did wrong was I made the wrong group of friends. And as a result, my cousin got killed. And I'm running from people who think I was responsible for that. And I can't go back to Alabama. I said, how can I confirm this story? I said, how can I confirm this story? He was like, you can call my grandmother. Because she's really the only person I've ever had in my life that I feel cared anything about me. He says, you could call my grandmother. And so he gave me his grandmother's number. And I'm like, hello? Picks up the phone. I said, ma'am, I'm sitting out here with your grandson. And she says, oh, you talking about? And she says his name. Says his nickname. And I say, yeah, I'm sitting out here with him in Atlanta. And she was like, oh, so he did get out of here? Once she started saying that, I immediately knew what he was telling me had some truth to it. So she was like, he did get out of here. He did get out of here. I've been so worried about my baby. I've been so worried about my baby because I know for a fact he didn't have anything to do with that. He didn't have anything to do with that. Is there any way do you can show him how to get around or where to get some help or whatever? So I told her, I said, just know that he's not gonna be on the street. So I said, bruh, I don't have, like, you know, I live a humble life like most people. You feel me? Like, I don't have a lot. But even in my friend circle, everybody, there's no friend I have that won't tell you what a giving person I am and how, what an I am and how I can't watch people suffer because I know what it feels like. I know what that feels like. So I was like, I don't have a big place, but I'm creative with my space. I'm very creative with my space. People know that about me. I'm like an interior designer, low key. Man, I could walk into your house and I don't care what the square footage is. I'll figure out how to make it work and make it livable, and stylish at that. You know, cutesy. So I was like, you can take the couch, but if me about a day, create a space for you, specific to you, for you, and um, and that's what happened. And on that very day, I knew, like, I was like, wow, I pretty much just become a parent because I know I'm not going to just throw the kid to the wolves because I have nephews and I would not want them to ever find themselves. I'll put it to you this way. If my nephews ever found themselves in an emergency and somebody from the LGBT community that they just so happened to run into, I would hope and pray that that person was a lot like myself. In the sense that my immediate responsibility was to protecting this kid and help him out of whatever this situation was. And so our first step was going to be figuring out how to get him to a point where he was no longer running from the law. One of the things that I had found out about him was that he obviously had never finished started high school. And so within probably his first week here, it's like, you know, we got to get you in school, or at least like some kind of training program. By now he had aunties because he had met my bestie or one of my besties, and he had another uncle because my best friend, who's a heterosexual male and just happens to be my best bro, um, they all kind of joined in. And they all kind of joined in, and we kind of created like this sort of pseudo family around him. Um, he had issues, mainly hygiene. And that comes from when you're young and you've been living in the street, you kind of get used to not functioning in a way that, because most of us, like, we have a certain routine, right? So you get up, you shower, you go to work, you come back, you might shower again, or you know what I mean, whatever the case is, right? And when you don't have that, you lose a lot of that functionality. And so, oh no, it's okay. It's a good cry in the end. It's a good cry in the end. I always get emotional thinking about that story because, see, first of all, think about it this way. Like, I thought life cheated me out of parenthood because of who I am, right? So it's not like I never expected to ever even be in a situation where I was now, and mind you, my family from out of state, they knew absolutely nothing about this. The only people who knew that this was even taking place was me, the kid, my besties out here, and his grandmother, because I did maintain contact with her. Because apparently, what I eventually learned about him, is that he had over time developed this, I don't know what you would call it, but it's something that makes someone a roamer, where they can't stay still. And so they'll live somewhere for 6 months, and then they'll live somewhere else, and then they'll come back to their home base, and then he had developed that over time. Interestingly enough, one day I guess he was downtown and he ran into Marcus, and he was with a buddy of his, and I remember him coming back home to me, that he came back home and he was like, "Yeah, I was downtown and I was talking to this interviewer." Now, mind you, this is literally the very time I ever heard the name Marcus. I had never heard the name Marcus before this. I had not even watched ASI, and I didn't even know it existed. We're talking this in closer to 4 or 5 years ago. But anyway, um, he's like, "Yeah, I was on and I was on this thing called Atlanta Street Interviews," or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, "Oh, seriously?" He was like, "Yeah, yeah, you gonna see me? You gonna see me?" And lo and behold, I'm like, "Look, this is okay." And I'm like, "This is my kid on TV now." I mean, he always called me Unc. I always called him Neff. That was our nicknames for each other, Unc, Neff. But in terms of the dynamic, I always low key, and low key even now, always still will, because now he's 22, but well, he'll always be my kid as far as I'm concerned. But so, like I was saying, he did, I did put a support system around him. I tried to get him enrolled in Washington High School. We actually went through the process. And then he was honest with me about the fact that his GED, or whatever the case may be, but the Roman. And so there came a point where my kid probably roamed these states to the tune in Atlanta. He lived in Alabama most of his life, followed by Atlanta, Washington, He stayed in Las Vegas very, very briefly. He stayed in Texas for a couple months at one point. He always his way back home here, like when he, he goes off and he'll visit these other states or whatever, and he'll always come back. What happened? He did eventually get himself cleared of any wrongdoing. It meant that we had to go down. He had to go down to Alabama and actually have a conversation with some folks out there, law enforcement, and um, and was cleared, fully cleared. And in fact, the case ended up being resolved with the person who actually did harm his cousin doing time, and that person is still doing time. And so then he came back here. And what I will say about him is, if there's anything in terms of advice that he really, really took well, is this idea of being a working man. And because I always have this thing like, you know, you I can't be the only person in the space where I live working. Like I can't go to work and someone is playing a video game for 8 hours while I'm working like a Hebrew slave to try to keep bills, in order and whatnot. And so he was very good with working and taking care of himself in that way, or whatever the case may be. We would have, like any parents, who, if you got kids, I'm gonna tell you, especially if you got a YN. But now, see, the difference about him being a YN is he's not a crash out YN. He's not one of those. So like, he can give you the style, he'll give you the look, he'll give you the effect, but he's not gonna crash out. You said karma. Oh, okay. Anyway, I was reading something else, but anyway, so he's not the kind of, he's not out the one out in the street who's gonna get in trouble and, like, robbing and stealing and, just, getting into random fights. And he's definitely not one of those. And Marcus, I think Marcus probably knows and remembers who it is that I'm referring to, because I think I sent him a screen grab from, I guess, whenever he had met him downtown or whatever the case may be. But um, so st- so he got older. So remember when I first met him, he was about 16, and now he's 22. So you can imagine that there were definitely, like, there was the one time where we had gotten into this argument, because it's like, my biggest thing, and I don't care who you are, my biggest thing with my house is cleanliness. That is so important to me. Number one, because I'm a bona fide cook. I'm a chef. I'm heavily into hospitality and things like that. So cleanliness for me tends to be a very important dynamic in terms of how I can live with someone and be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? If we're sharing a space, then we need to be equally inclined in terms of maintaining the cleanliness and the upkeep of the space, right? And when you reach a certain age, that also means that you need to contribute to some bills in the house, right? You can't just be 20 years old and think that, you know what I mean? Come on, come on. That's just, first of all, me as an adult, I would be teaching you wrong if you were not required to assume the responsibility of something in the household. Now, obviously the lion's share of the responsibility is always going to be on the adult person. I mean, that just makes sense. But you set a child up for failure when you don't when you don't require some level of responsibility, and that becomes exponentially true when you're also basically cleaning up after this person. You're doing literally all of the cooking, all of the cleaning. It gets to a point. And so we would bump heads about things like that, but never physical. Like, he's never threatened me. Oh, he would never, 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 never. He's, but we would definitely bump heads about things like that. And I remember one day we were bumping heads, and I was like, "Well, you can leave. You can get on. You grown now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's been 4 or 5 years. Like, bruh, you can, like, come on. Like, I feel like I've done a lot for you. I've done a lot in your life. Like, whatever the case may be." And I'll never forget this day because the thing that day was, I'm trying to get ready for, I'm in a rush to get to work, right? You don't have a job at that moment to get to. So, why on earth would you maximize the time in the bathroom when you know that's important to me? I gotta put a whole effing face on, right? And so, so I'm like, so we started, we're like going back and forth about this or whatever the case may be. And so I finally get in, and I'm finally able to do what I got to do, and we're rushing out we're rushing out the door. Something told me to turn around, and when I turned around, I seen my boy grabbing a gun from underneath the couch to stuff into his pants. And had we not had that blow up, I never had known that there was a whole gun under my couch. And when I saw that, I called my bestie, my sis, and I said, yeah, it's about that time. He gotta go. He gotta go. Now, mind you, that particular incident occurred probably I'm gonna say 2 years ago, because that was probably within his third year here, or whatever the case may be. But I called her, and I'm like, yeah, that's it or whatever. And I told him right off rip, I was like, you know that when you do come back, you will only be coming back to retrieve things, because I told you off rip, I don't play about no GUN in my house. I don't play about that. Especially one that I have no assurance of that it legally and lawfully obtained, and then plus you a YN, and even though you're not necessarily a crash out, I still don't necessarily feel comfortable. I would not, like, come on, like, I don't feel comfortable being in a crib where a whole YN is armed, and then you didn't even make me aware of it. And that's very bothersome to me, because we bump heads sometimes, and you're telling me that we can be in here bumping heads, and you can be armed in here in a way that I'm not even aware of. Now, even though we've never gotten physical, we don't threaten each other physically, but that's not the point. That's just not the point. And so the next day he came back, he got his things, he ended his girlfriend for a little while or whatever. But one of the things that I had always told him, which I recommend every parent, you are a parent or you are a caretaker, someone else's child, I want to tell you something that I truly believe every parent is supposed to tell their child. I said, I do not care what the argument was, do not care what I say to you in anger, what you may say to me. I do not care. If you ever find a crossroads in life where you are at your wits' end and everything, this is still your home base and it is still your safe zone. And never, just reach out to me. Don't think about, well, last time I got put out because of this situation. Well, the last time I was so upset that I said something at Dominique's mom. And that's one of the the one things, because it's are like, he would make these little, like he couldn't get away with it, he was like 17 and he wanted some girl to spend the night. And I was like, I said, see, I have a belief. I said, see, I have a belief that anytime a ninja feels up with something, he needs to be able to spend the coin and get that hotel room. I'm not finna be responsible for any antics or anybody saying that X, Y, and Z took place. I just don't think it's like come on now. Come on. Like I think I basically just turned my side out to become a whole unexpected parent. My mom doesn't know this. My brother and sisters know this. None of my relatives at all are aware of this. Atlanta only thing. Friends and my, like, we just all just put our arms around this situation together. That's um so like I said, I did tell him that. And I was there have been so many times that he's had to come back. And I always open the door for him. And I always open the door for him because I told him that there are things that I for that I could not any ties with him over. One, if you ever raise your hand to me, one, I don't raise my hand to you. I never have. I never will. So if you ever raise your hand to me, if you ever raise, if you physically approach me in a way that's excessively aggressive and looks in that, because I believe that all respect is gone and the child is putting their hand on the parent, that to me, you know what I mean? Like that's a non-starter right there for me. Is because there would be no need. I provide enough in here, and able body that you can get the things that you need for yourself. Like, not, necessarily appreciate that and have a lot of respect for that. So in his most recent stay, which would have March 2000, 26. Um, in his most recent stay, he was doing back situated or whatever, and he knows it's always situated because I've always been the only grown up in his life that was not trying to be his peer. Peers to like the YN community and whatnot. Like any, I think the opportunity that God gave me, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't for this is nefarious or otherwise. It was my responsibility to shepherd and chaperone man through his last teen years and into male. And this is why when I see these conversations about can an LGBT person raise a man or whatever, you just ask that opportunity. I bet you he'll tell you, he'll tell you, yeah, my uncle's one of those B. Okay, because he was that man for me. I know he'll say that. He'll say that. You feel me? So, for me, there's no conversation to be had with that. But when he came back, you know, I told him, I said, listen, you doing whatever you got whatever you on grind. Uh, all you got to do is just take care of that light bill. You know, you always on the on you run it up, charging while you're using, and all of these different things. I'm like, I can't handle everything. The light bill is the only thing that you got to worry about. And generally, they never not think that that would be an issue because, to his credit, he's definitely, I mean, in him, um, being about, you know, making sure that you're not just being takes advantage of his kindness. Um, you, and this is no shade to you, because chaos actually, to keep it 100 with you, the more I'm actually developing an amount of respect for you, um, and your so what I'm is not about shade, but it's just a simple comparison to how when that woman took you in, him in, he was 16. When she took you in, you're already into your adult space, right? And he was that kid can walk into my home today, even after what I'm about to walk in, but you can't walk back into that lady's home. And that says a lot about the kind of kid that God blessed me with. That even though or whatever, but he was able to maintain built here in Atlanta because he's not from Atlanta. He doesn't even have any relation, not his no relationship whatsoever with his mother. He probably has about a 5% his father. He has absolutely no relationship with any. The only persons that he really communicates with from his blood is he doesn't necessarily see but calls, you know, where from wherever he is. But anyway, of the lights was not And normally that wouldn't have been an issue because my discovering that happened at, if you know, you know, am I am not committed to one workspace. Um, I work a certain amount of flat. So I'm able to get these contracts or whatever the case may be. I can go through a period where there's some fluctuation there, right? And so it came at a really bad time. And then my brother-in-law. And while that wasn't necessarily a financial liability, it was definitely a serious emotional hit, a serious emotional stressor. And so I'm without electricity. And here's where the Marcus T comes in. Because I felt like, okay, I know for a fact that I was involved in one of the biggest storylines ever. And not just involved, but like seriously. And I know that it did, I felt like it had to have generated at least a decent a decent bump to Marcus's wallet. And it was a bump that at that time I can't say I had benefited from, right? Because remember, during those times, if you know, you know, I was resistant to interviews. I was resistant to being on camera. So I wasn't really getting anything out of that story, right? Now, I never felt like Marcus owed me anything. Now, let me be 100% clear about that. I did not feel that he owed me anything. But I did, when I reached out to Marcus, I did feel as if I felt like I had built up enough cachet, if it makes sense, with Marcus in terms of not just the story that I brought to him, but also because there's some behind the scenes stuff. Like, you know, it, I don't want to upset people, but I don't hate Marcus, right? I don't hate Marcus. And so even as I'm critical of certain aspects of ASI, right? There's a certain respect I have for the platform, a certain loyalty to the platform, and even in the midst of questions, concerns, whatever, that's generally not shakable. So it's generally not shakable. I'm just gonna go ahead and be honest about that, right? And so I felt like I had built up enough cachet. If I found myself in such a situation, and for me, that situation was a lot more perilous than the average person because, and this is where transparency and disclosure comes in. I am a diabetic. I am a diabetic who is prescribed insulin. But here's the thing. 2 years ago, without the doctor's permission, I took myself off of insulin and I changed my diet. I changed some of my physical habits, becoming more active, walking a lot more, things like that. And I have not taken an insulin shot in 2 years. So keep in mind that I was already like I'm already kind of in a risky situation, if you will. Um, I'm so glad the audio is much better. Oh God, I didn't even realize the audio was chopping up. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me hurry up and finish this up. And so I called Marcus and I'm like, well, first, let me see. I offered to fight tragedy. So I'm like, look, I gotta come up with some quick bread. Like I need money fast, like fast, fast, fast. And I'm not trying to do no spicy. If I'm gonna do spicy, it's gonna be for me, and I'm gonna benefit from the S to the P to the I to the C to the E and the Y, right? So I'm like, but I'll throw some gloves on. I own my own, like I have boxing gloves in my house, like literally, I got my own gloves, like, and I have like the Everlast hand wrap and like I have all that stuff. So I was like, I'll definitely get out there and box. Now, I'm not even considering the fact that, I'm a person of a certain age. I have diabetes. I've been without insulin for 2 years. I'm willing to just thrust myself out there, right, into that ring. But God is good because tragedy pulls out. Now I was tight that he pulled out because when he pulled out, it feels like, bro, you're pulling money out of my pocket right now. Like you don't understand. Like I probably need this more than you need whatever little bit you need right now. So I'm feeling like, damn, I'm ready to beat you up for free at this point, right? Which I'm kidding, obviously. I say that in jest, but um so the fight was off. And so I ended up asking Marcus for a lift. And I'm not going to be specific about what that was. So we're not going to be getting into any number. But all I could tell you is that for everybody who sits on this space in these streets, on the corners of this sector, right? And you point fingers and you judge people. It's all funny. I mean, look, it's all fair and game, right? It's all fair and game at the end of the day because what you put out here on the net, it's gonna be there. People are gonna and pick it apart. But I just want y'all to know that sometimes behind the scenes there be other parts of people that you don't even get to see and that don't become content. And he didn't make it content, and he probably didn't want me to make it content. And I'm not even making it content because it's kind of just the reason why, in the context of the story I told y'all about adopting a YN, right? It's kind of like everything came full circle in a way because he met Marcus before I ever knew a Marcus existed, right? And Marcus came to my attention and my awareness because of him. And that's how I started getting into watching ASI, right? And so when that same YN kind of falls flat on a responsibility and puts us in a bind, then this same guy, Marcus, is an individual who kind of comes through with that little assist that kind of that meant that I didn't have to be in that situation any longer. So kudos to bro for that. Like I appreciate it. I'm still gonna be critical because I still gotta be me. So if there are things I see, but anybody that thinks that I won't be loyal, I'm be honest with you, that's just not in me to be that kind of a person. Like it's just not. And we got to get back to a point in society, especially in black society, where loyalty counts for something. Like I don't know why y'all think that. Like even with like the Diddy situation, like a lot of people got mad because certain people just didn't walk away from him or whatever. Friends of his for 20 years, 30 years, or whatever the case may be. Like people, y'all crazy. Like I don't know what is wrong with people. Like why is there no value in integrity anymore? Why is there no value in loyalty anymore? Like why does that not have any importance? Like I could be, you don't know, I might curse him out on the phone just because I'm not doing it on live. Like it could be a thing where cause I text Marcus a lot. Like Marcus will tell you, I might text him more than most of his interviewees. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really do. So you don't like, just because I'm not foaming at the mouth on live. You see, that's the difference between loyalty and disloyalty. Loyalty is like if I know somebody I'm okay with, cool with, whether it's family, friends, um, whoever, right? And they doing something wrong or whatever the case may be. Like if it's already 10 people, 20 people screaming about that on live, then why can't I scream about that in private? Like what the hell? Disloyalty to me is like ignoring the fact that at the end of the day, like shit don't really got nothing to do with me. So how personal am I really supposed to take it? That grown people is out here being grown. Like how exactly, like what should be the amount of venom? Tell me. Am I should 16 ounces, 21 ounces of venom, a pound of flesh? No. And then my house is glass? No. That's not even no. Loyalty has to count for something. It can't just simply be just the idea, well, I can make more money if I become more vocally critical. I can, my content is gonna grow if I become more anti ASI or whatever the case may be. It's gotta be it's gotta be more than yeah, it's gotta be more than Carmen Sam. Like you said, no loyalty, no integrity, no common sense, no morals, no nothing. I agree with you. Yeah, exactly. Like it can't just be like everything can't just be the content. Like, you know, we we get it. It is what it is. But at the same time, loyalty has to count for something. I don't have to drag Marcus down the streets of the street sector in order to prove that I have a moral compass or whatever the case may be. Sometimes having a moral compass also means pulling back, you know what I'm saying, and being reservant, and not necessarily hitting the gas on every situation, you know. And there's certainly no value in jumping people. We say that in the hood all the time, right? We say you never get no points for jumping. Well, I think that that's the same on the internet too. I mean, it's no different. Like in the street sector, you get no points for jumping. You see somebody being jumped, and then you get to start kicking and stomping. And no, what's the point? There is no point of that. So anyway, guys, I do really thank y'all for hanging out with me, but I will say this. I am campaigning, strongly campaigning to be in position um for house hostess or house host um whenever this content house comes up. Part of my campaign involves those food related shorts and hosting and hospitality related shorts. Please, y'all, please attack them vigorously. Hit those like buttons, hit those share buttons, post them on your Facebook. Oh, look at this food. Oh my God, this look good. Hey girl, oh my Lord, what is this? Oh yes. Like please, y'all, get those shorts out there into the algorithm. That food looks great. The hospitality looks great, warm, friendly, inviting. You can clearly see I know what I'm doing. So let's really make sure that we're giving those shorts as much attention as they certainly deserve. What I think about Chaos's girlfriend, oh God, you're gonna get me in trouble. It says, and I don't like how people dog Feisty's looks out. They sit behind their profiles. Feisty is not ugly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint y'all. I'm so sorry to disappoint y'all, but I cannot agree with Feisty being ugly. Now, on the inside, she may need to she may need some work done and could probably use some. We all need some work done inside and out anyway, but at the end of the day, to call Feisty ugly is crazy. Feisty is really actually pretty. She gives me a young Diana Ross, if I'm being honest with you. She could literally probably do, and she gives me a slight little bit of a like a Yaya. I think if you was to mix like a Yaya with a young Diana Ross, you end up with Feisty. Feisty is not a ugly girl, and that's cap for anybody trying to say that. That is cap. I'm sorry. That is just cap. That's cap. Let's see. Feisty isn't ugly. Those same people pretend as if as if they advocate for the homeless, but can't understand why Feisty's appearance isn't the best. Thank you. And look, and Feisty serving looks as a homeless. Could you imagine how Feisty would look if all of her situations was resolved? She was living in her femininity, living in her peace, living in resting in her motherhood. Could you imagine that melanin get to popping and that beautiful feminine glow starts to come back? Could you and y'all better leave Feisty alone. I'm not gonna hold you. Now somebody asked me what I think about Chaos girlfriend. Here's what I say. If that's not a trans, that is somebody who has worked all their life. Like it had been their mission since birth to become a trans. Maybe as a child she looked up to people like I don't know, um but maybe it's a female. If that's not a transgender person, that is a female who from the time that she was a child she has always dreamed of looking like a transgender individual. And if that is the case, I would have to give her props because she has been successful in accomplishing that. Wait, personally, it's not that bad. These damn spell checks, okay? But yeah, yeah. Wait, hold on. She really isn't unpleasant. She is annoying. No, Feisty. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Feisty has grown on me. Feisty had. If you had to ask me your opinion about my opinion about Feisty maybe 2, 3 months ago, I'm pretty sure it would be at least slightly different. But even then, it would have been graceful. Some of y'all are just evil fucking human beings, if I can be honest with you. Some of y'all have no heart at all. Some of y'all just literally don't have no heart for human beings. Like the things that y'all get in these damn comments and say about people you don't even know. People struggling, people who are going through some of the worst moments of their lives. And because they're not going through that moment in a way that you would go through it, because they're not suffering in a way that you would suffer, you actually get on the internet and you just talk about these people so disgustingly. Some of you people are just really sick human beings. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of you are some sick human beings. You ain't got no God in you. You ain't got an ounce of Jesus in you. You ain't got an ounce of love in you. You ain't got an ounce of empathy in you, an ounce of sympathy in you. All you see, everything you see is binary, black and white, your way or the highway. It's either people are living exactly like you would in their circumstances, or they just get like ostracized and just completely just ran amok on. Like some of y'all be doing them very, very wrong. Like I read certain things that I have to say give me great pause, and a lot of it is directed toward Feisty, and I wish it would stop, because y'all don't even understand what it must be like for a mother to lose custody of her children, and what that does to somebody internally, especially somebody who may have even been already battling postpartum syndromes that weren't even fully addressed. Like sometimes you have to question like a little bit more of the why and stop leaning so much into the what. Sometimes you got to get a little bit more into the how and stop leaning so much into the what of it all, the what it is, the what's happening. Why? Like what? Like try to like maybe if you, instead of using your time in the comment to try to bring somebody down and just rip their heart open with words, do you realize that you could use that same commentary space to uplift that same person? To, you might say something that might cause them to release the information that they withhold about what keeps them locked into their position. You might open up a portal for honesty that wasn't there before your comment brought it out. Everything does not have to be this constant bombardment of just drag, 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 drag. No. I promise you, life gets better for everybody when we start to care about more, a little bit more about the people around us, as opposed to the things that they may do that we don't necessarily see for our lives. It's okay not to see what somebody else does for your life. That's fine. Live your life the way you live yours. But you can't get mad at people because they're in a particular space that you're not in. You don't know what got them in that space. You don't know what keeps them in that space. And if you're not doing anything to pull them out of that space, I don't know. It's hard to think of so much that you can actually say. You know, like these people who send Feisty a bag, a bag of clothes, that's an investment in her life. That person has a right to foster a very strong opinion. They can maybe even foam at the mouth a little bit, and I won't get upset with them. But a lot of y'all be foaming at the mouth about Marcus, about Feisty, about a lot of these people, and you really don't lift a hand. Like y'all would have walked past that same YN in that park and left him sitting right there with them shoes on the side of that bench. Y'all the same people. Or he would have been content. And I never put him on here. And trust me, he would have been great content. My son is handsome. He's tall. He's smart. He would have been content. He definitely would have been content. He always had something going on. He was funny. He would have been great content. But that's not what it was about. That was not my role. That wasn't that's not like when I went to the park, that was not my assignment that God gave me that night. That was not the assignment. If that would have been the assignment, that would have been one thing, but I knew I was very clear from the moment he lifted his head up. I knew exactly what the assignment was. You know what I'm saying? So, let's learn to love a little bit more. Let's learn to take it easy on people. Even in our criticism, let's be dignified. We don't have to criticize people and discuss people in ways that are just so nasty and disparaging and beneath the belt and beneath the boxes and beneath the underwear even. Like there's a way to have even some of the most complex, even some of the most disturbing conversations in a dignified way, in a very classy, almost in an adult-centered way, in a life-affirming way, in a way that seeks solutions rather than. Because I'll be honest with you, most of the criticism, I'm going to say 80% of the criticism that I see regarding ASI is all for entertainment purposes. You could literally tell that the people, they're not even emotionally invested. You see the way I just broke down crying telling you the story about when do you ever hear them break down when they talk about whatever they seeing that's bothering them so much about what you know what I'm saying? You ever see anybody break down in tears over Polo and no. Anybody you ever see somebody broke down in tears over Josiah's? No. Right? These people are not, they don't be emotionally invested. They be financially invested and they just be faking it like they emotionally invested. When the truth is, trust me, they go to sleep at night. They sleep on their big, comfortable, possibly purple mattresses. You know what I'm saying? They are not thinking about these human beings. They're just not. They don't give a damn in reality. They don't. And I'll tell you how. Because there are so many other things in this world that are so much more important to the black community and to the street sector that we could all be talking about so much more. But unfortunately, those things would not generate a dime. But talking about Atlanta Street Interview, yeah, that's definitely, especially right now, like in this particular moment, is definitely going to generate some funds. And especially if you can be critical because you can clip farm some of the antics and behaviors and idiosyncrasies that you see, and you can literally create a whole cottage industry around this one channel. That's basically, you know what? At this point, Marcus is a female dog. Y'all know how like when a female dog get you ever look at a female dog, it be looking like she got like 8 or 10 tits. at this point, at this point, Marcus is a whole female dog. I mean, what does it say? Grand rising, resting, coming. Okay. Oh shoot, that's Lotus Flower Bomb. What's up, Lotus? Hey, what is up, Lotus Flower Bomb? How are you doing? I don't even know how long I've been here, y'all, because I can't talk for too long. I'm not really like the most, like, I know I could be long winded, but at the same time, there's definitely, I still have a little bit of nervousness, about communicating for this long, amount of time, trying to maintain enough to say Grand Rising Dominique, love, light, healing to you and the yeah, same to you, Lotus. Same to everybody. Same to everybody. Same to everybody. I don't have a side to pick. You feel me? I really don't. I don't have a side to pick. My side is my side is love. My side is caring. My side is allowing people to grow in their life the same way God allowed me to grow in my life. And it's still allowing me to grow in my life. And to be cognizant that, we all just one or two bad decisions away from, being in a messed up position ourselves. Like, I know, it's easy to get on here and fake, because we're all behind these screens, and you get to project whatever type of energy you want, or whatever the case may be. But I'm a realist. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem being very honest about the fact that I struggle, and I may not struggle the way some of these people do, but it's a struggle nonetheless. Nonetheless, I can't work a regular job. I have to be an independent contractor, because I can't commit myself to any environments, because a lot of times, there's always one, two, three, four, five, or whomever in there who are anti whatever, and they can't leave their biases at home. They're not intelligent, and they're not equipped with the intellectual fortitude to check their bias at the door. It's a lot of ish I don't like too. It's a lot of I don't like them damn 10 feet eyelashes. But when you in my face with them at work, I'm still gonna smile. Oh my God. I got my own biases too. You know what I'm saying? But I know how to check them when I'm at work. But I go, you work some of these places, and it's like people will intentionally try to antagonize and poke and pick and prod, because you don't fit the stereotype of what the average trans person is supposed to be. And so somebody just feels as if it's their personal responsibility to make your day as miserable as possible. No, it's just going to be your personal responsibility to get your ass whooped on that job, is what it's going to be, to be honest with you, because I'm not really for none of that. So that's why it's best for me to just do independent contracting, right? Because then I don't have to worry about things like that. I can do a shift in your workspace, and if I don't like it, then I don't have to accept you anymore. I can just be like, nah, I'm good on you. Like, I'll accept something somewhere else next time. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. Um, I never put my Cash App in the description. I think I'm gonna start doing that, because even if it's somebody might just want to feel like blessing somebody with a, because I still say, and this is another thing with you, chaos, and the $1,000 donation thingy, boy, you could have been a lot further up with that $1,000 than you think, young man. Been a lot further ahead than you think. But again, you're young. I get it. Some of the decisions that y'all make about money and things can be impulsive, but during the time that you were blessed with that was the exact time that I was fighting for my life to put makeup on in the dark. You feel me? You see how life works? So I already know what I would have done with that. You understand what I'm saying? I already know what I would have done with that. You have to take advantage of every blessing that you get. It's called a blessing for a reason. This is why I don't rely on luck. I don't even much believe in luck. You know what I'm saying? I'm so appreciative of actual blessings because they are so much more lasting when you honor them in the way that they were intended. You understand what I'm saying? Like for me, that would have definitely been okay, electricity back on. The refrigerator that all of the food had to be thrown out. Okay, yeah, boom. I'm filling all of that back up again. Um, if I'm being honest, it's still empty. I'm keeping 100. Like it's a day-to-day thing at this point, you know. Um, but I'm good though. So anyway, um, clubs are needed when you feel like boxing a coworker, right? I know that's right. Golden signatures. And yes, Lotus Flower Bomb says, yeah, they got to take advantage of the opportunity. Someone says I have a problem being bound to one job also. Yeah, I can't do it, y'all. Cause I already know I'm not retirement. These jobs you gotta be there what 15, 20 years. I can't there's no way that in 15 years some toxically masculine ninja is not gonna approach me with the BS. Not gonna have to put pause on. Like that's just come on. I operate in I don't operate in I don't believe in operating in a way that causes me to think unrealistically. You understand what I'm saying? Like I have to be realistic. Like there's no way that in 15 years I'm not punching somebody out. Like there's just no way. Like I told you, there's no way. You know? There's no way. There's no way that in 15 years I wouldn't have a supervisor who's because that's my pet peeve in any workspace. Don't effing micromanage me. I am very experienced, and in most work environments, I'm more experienced. I'm so experienced I could do the job of the person supervising me. That is just the case. You have to know these things about yourself. It does not make you unhumble or anything like that. You must know your value in life. And I'm telling you that work and in the career industry that I work in most places, in most kitchens I work in, I can outcook anyone in that damn kitchen if it came down to it. Um, I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? So for me to go any place and be micromanaged, that is a pet peeve for me. Like you are going to get on my extreme last nerve. Like I have literally, even as an independent contractor, I have literally had to look bosses in their eye and say, respectfully, sir, you hired me to do this. I assume that you looked at my background. I assume that you looked at my credentials. I assume that you looked at my resume. I assume that you knew what you were hiring. If that is not the case, let me know because I can go home. If it is the case, please allow me to do the job that you trusted me to do. And I guarantee you, I will. I have to literally have to say those very words to people, even as an independent contractor. But the only thing is, there's no consequence in that environment. But on a job, right? It's a whole nother thing. When you're committed, when you're committed to them, right? It's a whole nother thing. Like I'm a whole Leo. I'm a Leo. I'll be celebrating my birthday in August. I'm a Leo. We are not the kind of people that you can just think that you're gonna be, tapping us on our shoulder every 30 minutes and saying, are you doing this or did you do that or has that one done? Has that been done? Or are you no, no, no. Stay the F back. Let me do my job so that I'm not smacking a wedding cake off the table on my way out of the door frustrated. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, leave people the fuck alone. Even on the job, like, leave people the fuck alone. No, but seriously, like, Leave people alone. Have you ever had a boss or a supervisor that, for some reason, they just like created reasons to communicate with you, right? Like you had to hear their voice or get their email about the most nonsensical, inconsequential, useless things, right? And it's like I don't know if being a boss sometimes there's not enough work to do. And so when you run out of work, it's like, well, guess I'll just start fucking with people, right? Is that how it works? Is that how that works? He says, Carmen says, my sister worked at the hospital 12 years, calling these MFers her friends. She got locked up for second for something. Oh no, second degree. Ask how many times these people. I bet you they did. I'm pretty sure they have not. I'm pretty sure they have not, and that's usually the case. Lotus says, I'm the same way. Soon as a job get on some BS, I'm gone and I won't look back. I know the Most High got me and I'll find a job somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very skilled. Like, that's what I'm saying. If Marcus gives me the shot, he's going to get a lot of bang for his buck. He's going to get a lot of bang for his buck. He'll get somebody who's compassionate, caring, but also stern. He'll get somebody who's loyal, who knows how to be a pit bull when necessary. He's going to get somebody who knows how to feed a large group of people effortlessly, cook for a large group of people effortlessly, and can do that on a consistent basis. He's going to get somebody who knows how to keep a space in order, clean. Oh, he's gonna get it. He's definitely gonna get a bang for his buck. Anybody who knows me in real life, comment. They know he's gonna get a bang for his buck. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna say good night or good morning to you all. It's very nice that you all dropped in tonight. I deeply appreciate that. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Let me just check. Okay, wait. Golden said there was one who was a supervisor in my department, but not mine. She would annoy me and indirectly harass me. That wrench to once we discovered that we lived on the same street. I know that's right. Okay, so my cash app is ASHABZ. The letter Z, like where you go visit the animals at the zoo. So A Shabs. I will put it in the description, but again, it is ASHABZ. And when it comes up, it comes up as Dominique Taylor. So that's how you know it. It's gonna say Dominique Taylor. Um, but again, I will put it in the description, and there's no pressure. By the way, but if at any moment you're in a generous mood and you're able to shoot something over, do feel free to do that. But absolutely do not feel pressured. I want to be here and build and create this space, not based upon a cash app or whether or not um, that involved at all. I want to create and build a space where I can be transparent and open up about things with you all and share things with you all in a way that is genuine, life affirming, dignified, respectful, and meaningful. So yeah. Yeah, that's it, A Shabs. Yep. Thank you so much. Oh, Vibes Queen, I would be remiss to not say that I honestly appreciate how you have embraced me in this space and kind of been shepherding me through this space. Your advice, your assistance in making sure that the channel had a certain look to it has been greatly appreciated. I want you to know that it means a lot to me, and as my space grows, that will not be something that I forget at all. So thank you all again. I gotta say good night. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Bye bye.